Hey guys, Kyle here, bringing you a segmented video of this very awesome package. It's not very often that we get packages, and if we get packages a lot, it's either number one, because the items are inexpensive, or number two, because we have lots of money. I don't really live in either of those categories, so whenever I finally get a package, it's very special. Let's go and dive in and look at this guy. This is how this box kind of came. Nothing super special, but the contents inside was very important. And my guess is not many of us will do this with this exact box. Inside comes this gray envelope. Nothing too spectacular, but the box. This box belongs to Aught Design, and yes, I was on AuughtDesign.com last week, and a set of these came out onto their website. If you know anything about Aught Design or TAD, their stuff is very expensive. Their knives are just insane, and they usually sell out within minutes. It took less than 24 hours for both shades and this color knife to absolutely sell out to the max and just be completely gone. But what is inside this lovely little package? This, my friends, is the Aught Design Dauntless MK3. And the detent on that, no, not the detent, just my inability. This knife is truly awesome. More to come on this, kind of as I carry it and use it a little bit. But what I can already tell you right now is that this knife is very, very cool. So stick around, guys, and we'll talk about it just a little bit. Just look at that blade. It's a little different than anything else in my collection. The materials on this, I gotta say, really are top notch. The fit and finish on this thing is just absolutely great. Everything about this is just, it's so nice. The jimping up here is, it's meaningful. The stone wash on it, it's not too bad. It's something I could live with. There's no crazy detent. So you just kind of see if we can hear that. Oop, not that time. Yeah, just a very light detent, and that's okay. We don't need knives with incredibly heavy detents. The lockup, as far as a lot of people are concerned, is early. I tend to stand a little bit closer to the Chris Reeve method, where anything less than 40% is almost unsafe because the knife could close on your hand on accident. The scales are finished very nicely. It's a little smoother here and here than it is through here. It's a little bit to be expected because this is where the machining is, but these scales are very smooth. They're just a little sharp right through here. Nice solid clunk. I still gotta say, guys, this is a pretty awesome blade. Let me go and zoom out now. There we are. It's still a pretty awesome blade, but I'm getting rid of it. I know, my enthusiasm was just out the door whenever I got this, and I will say, to be fair, it has been about 24 hours. But I was playing with this thing last night, and the more and more I played with it, the more and more I just started to notice that, you know, I'm not entirely thrilled with it. And the centering is just it's just a little bit off. It's something I could live with, though. But I wasn't as thrilled about this knife as I had hoped I would be. And here are a couple reasons why. Well, let's start off with the reasons why I like this knife. Number one, the fit and finish on this thing is just absolutely superb. Everything about it. The lock bar, it just look at that. It's so thin. The stone wash on here is very, very good. I wish Sebenzas came stone washed on the handles. I know that it wouldn't have the same contrasting look, but I don't care. Stone washing is beautiful. Deployment, it's alright. It does need to be broken in some more for deployment to really be fast. The pocket clip on it it's alright. I like loop over pocket clips, but not whenever they have really kind of sharp Phillips head screwdriver heads in them. Let's zoom in on those. There we are. Yeah, I mean, those are just a little bit sharp. As you see right there, just a little bit of almost stripping. But yeah, the fit and finish of this thing is just awesome. You do use two different sized washers in this knife, kind of like Chris Reeve does. The bigger one, of course, being on this side to help offset the blade centering problem. But everything about the fit and finish of this knife is absolutely gorgeous. I really like the materials it's made out of. The S35 VN is becoming one of my favorite steels. It sharpens very easily. It takes an edge very, very nicely. And I have noticed that it is far, far less susceptible to chipping, unlike S30V, which I've had issues with. Everything about the knife is very well thought out. From the jimping up here to the 50/50 choil, even to this G10 backspacer here, it just helps give you just that little bit extra little grip on there. See, it's a good knife, really, but I'm not very thrilled about it. There's something about it, and if you've ever had to return a knife, you understand what I'm talking about. That it's just not something that can be explained. It's not something that you can desire to explain. It's just something about it you're not thrilled about. But just for a size comparison, here is my 940-1 right there. So they're about the same length as far as width goes. Well, of course, the Dauntless has got it. Dauntless has got it. Deployment speed, benchmade's broken and Dauntless isn't. What really gets me is this choil is really nice, but look how much blade length we're sacrificing for the 940. Really, guys, this knife is a little bigger than I thought, but not like a zero tolerance, where it's just absolutely huge. The knife is really very carryable. It's very, very thin in pocket, it just disappears. It doesn't have this gigantic spider hole on top for the jimping. The thumb studs are very well placed. They don't protrude out from away from the handles at all. The knife is just very good. There are a couple complaints, though, I have about this knife, which is why I'm a little disappointed. Number one, and probably my biggest peeve, is the lock bar. I'm going to do this with my left hand so you guys can kind of see this a little better. But this lock bar is just incredibly weak. Just incredibly weak. And that really, really bothers me. Especially since there's no hinder or over travel stop in the middle of it, which would be really cool if this thing had. The lock bar on it is just very, very weak. And that bothers me simply because I'm not the only one who uses my knives. I do hand my knives off to my friends and whatnot, and I don't ever want an excuse for me to be upset at them because they broke my knife, especially one of this caliber. The lock bar is weak, and I think for a knife that they claim that you can use and use hard, as we see on their website, a weak lock bar without some form of over travel stop is not very good to have at all. The other thing that this really bothers me, and really, guys, my only issues with this knife happen to be with the lock bar. Everything else I can kind of live with, but let's kind of zoom in right here. I'm pushing my lock bar further in to my knife with my thumb. See deployment. It just bothers me. And then the last part is the lock is sticky. And as we can hear that, it's just there are little things about this knife that really bother me. I know we're not supposed to compare our knives or anything, and my Sebenza video is coming, guys. But whenever I compare this against my Sebenza, the Sebenza, even though it's much shorter and everything else, there's just no competition. So, is this a good knife? Yes. Do I recommend this knife? Well, if you can get one, definitely, especially if you're into more of a larger blade. And the blade isn't that big, especially when we consider it's got this 50/50 choil on it. The blade is actually a very useful size, not too big, not too small, and the knife carries like a smaller knife. But I myself am just a little disappointed, so I will be sending this back to Aught Design and be receiving a full refund. But just know this, guys, I highly recommend this knife. In fact, if I was in the market again for a folder around 3.5 inches, something that I could kind of carry long term and not be afraid to push a little bit more than I would my Sebenza, just due to its build overall, I would really try and get this knife again. The only thing that makes me hesitate about this at all is the fact we don't know who currently makes it. And therefore, if something starts to go wrong with it, I don't know who to talk to other than Aught Design. And that just kind of makes me nervous. So, take it for what you want, guys. The knife is really cool, but it's just not for me. I had it up on my Instagram all day today and most of last night to see what I could get for trade, because I know that these things are just so hard to get, and nobody was wanting to take it. So, overall, I love the build quality of it. The deployment's good. The thumb studs are just absolutely amazing. The jimping is very well thought out, guys. The G10 on here is smooth, but not overly slick. And most of all, the stonewash is very good. But my main problems happen to be with the lock and the lock bar itself. Aught Design, I really wish that you guys would have made a stronger lock bar or put an over travel stop on there. That's just kind of my opinion, guys. So anyways, this is Agent Kyle signing out and bringing you why I'm returning my Aught Design, or TAD, MK3.